Hello, everyone. I'm back again with a new edition of Teatime Tales. It's been quite a month, so I haven't been able to keep up as regularly as I would like. So thanks for joining me today. I got sick twice with the flu in a single month and had a hobbled foot along the way. So I think I went through the entire month of January without a day of full health. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I'm here streaming a game of Lord of the Rings, the card game, so I can't complain too much about my life. um, on that note, we'll get started shortly here. Thanks for everyone joining me in the Twitch chat as usual. So, if this is your first time tuning in, what I do here is play solo against whatever quest is kind of tickling my fancy. But the main focus is trying out experimental decks that I'm not sure whether they're going to quite work. I think we might see that today. But it's basically a deck testing laboratory, and that's kind of the whole concept behind it. I may scoop if the occasion calls for it to make sure I fit within my time frame of an hour. And there may be some mistakes made, but if you're watching along on Twitch, you can point those out to me. Or if you're watching it later, you can always comment on the YouTube version. But I'll try to keep my eye out for the more important rules for this particular scenario, which there can be quite a bit going on. I am playing the Drowned Ruins today, so we have our... sorry, I have a little bit of a lingering sickness that's trying to get out of my throat. So Drowned Ruins has the underwater mechanic, in case it's been a while since you've played it. So these grotto locations are in a separate grotto deck. They have two sides. You don't get to see what the underwater side is until you choose to flip it. So you can travel there and not flip it because it's a response to make that choice. When you do go underwater, you're not able to play allies or attachments per the quest card here. And I can't advance to the second quest stage until I have 3 underwater locations in the victory display. So I think this is another good example of a quest where pacing is key, and you can do your best to control your pacing in the beginning to build up your forces to prepare for the end, which can be a bit of a storm of attacks and nastiness if you don't get properly set up at the beginning. Other things to note for the quest. I did my best to do testing like I usually do against this quest, and made some tweaks along the way, but I actually didn't, because I kept having Octagon issues along the way. Octagon has been having lots of trouble lately. I didn't get a full game in, so I have no idea whether this deck will actually pull off a victory or not. So we'll see. So for the deck itself, this deck is entitled Look Behind You, for a reason that will become clear shortly. So last time I ran a poll, the winners were Solo Idrain, which I did last time, and Solo Trap Deck was tied, so now I'm going to do the Solo Trap Deck. So in thinking of doing a Solo Trap Deck, it's tricky because the first thing you have to just accept is that there's some quests you can't play a Solo Trap Deck against, because the enemies don't allow attachments, or because the quest punishes you for having enemies in the staging area. Like Intruders in Chetwood is a good example of that, or the Journey to the Crossroads. So there's just some quests you can't play solo trap deck at all. But if you move beyond that, I was really trying to think about a solo trap deck that could tackle a good variety of quests and be successful. And so I of course have Damrod, which, yeah, duh, it's a trap deck, so I'm going to have Damrod to reduce the cost and get some card draw. I have Curaden for willpower mostly, and also extra card draw, because I found in my past experience of trying to build trap decks, if you run out of card draw and you're not getting the trap cycling into your hand, it kind of fizzles out. So Curaden provides some extra card draw. The interesting third hero choice was Fastred, and I kind of stumbled across this just thinking about, okay, I want to do 2 spirit and 1 lore. Who's another spirit hero? I want someone who can kind of defend. And then I thought, it might be interesting to throw in Fastrid, because he actually allows for the possibility of pushing back a enemy that gets engaged with you, and you can set up a trick where you put a trap into the staging area, defend that enemy, and push them back into the trap, assuming no other enemy comes out into the staging area between planning and combat, of course. But that's where the name of the deck, Look Behind You, comes from, because you can pull the old playground routine of of pushing the poor unsuspecting enemy over the trap that's behind them. So that's the idea. He also provides some threat reduction. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I Roka Fuchs in the chat is talking about not playing Traps and Spirit together. Yeah, probably the longest part of coming together and figuring out what I wanted to do with this deck is figuring out the spheres. I played with Leadership and Lore originally, which I think is probably more what I've done for Traps. And then I settled on ultimately just saying, okay, Damrod's going to be the sole Lore hero. He's going to cover playing all the Traps, since he has that cost reduction. And then the other two heroes are going to focus on questing. So it's not a huge combat deck. It's kind of trying to do alternative combat through traps and some other tricks. I did include some hero allies, rather, like Rider of Rohan, which people who have been following this series and know my obsession with that ally. And the Ravanian Outrider as well. So there is some combat in here, but the main focus is questing traps to deal with enemies, and then hopefully getting out on the other side successfully. But without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started and see how far we can get on the Drowned Ruins. So this is my opening hand. I haven't mulliganed yet. I do like that I have Hanemarth Riversong. This is a deck that I actually run 3 copies of Hanemarth because I find the scrying super useful and essential for a trap deck, so you can know what traps to play when. But since I don't have any traps in this hand, I think I'm actually going to mulligan here. Yeah, so I got a couple traps, and I still kept my Hanemarth. Not bad. Okay. So let's see how we want to start this off. Let's start a round. We get an extra card with Círdan. We'll discard Arwen since we got an extra there. Not a bad beginning. McDog in the chat is mentioning this quest would be good for side quest. Yeah, and fortunately I have 3 side quests in here. You can see I have Legacy Blade. I didn't originally have side quests, but I decided to add them in because I needed some extra attack. And obviously there's not too many options in Lore and Spirit, so I decided to experiment with Legacy Blade and side quests. And of course that also works with the Rider of Rohan. And it also helps the particular side quests like Scout Ahead is good for this type of deck where you want to get knowledge of what's coming and then counter deck and maybe get rid of the worst cards that might sabotage your strategy. Okay. On the Spirit side of things, I think the play is pretty clear that we're just going to go ahead and dump Arwen into play, whose job is to boost up Fastrid, unsurprisingly. I don't have a ton of tricks to boost up his defense, because ideally he's not going to be defending huge enemies, but of course, you know, we can't really count on that 100%. Finbarfin mentions in the chat, don't forget to draw a card too for Círdan. I went an entire quest without doing that. Yeah, I did do it on this particular round, but yeah, that's up there in my top 3 or top 5 common mistakes I make on Octagon, because it's so easy to forget to do that extra card for Círdan. Okay. On the Lore side of things, I might as well put the Legacy Blade on Damrod, which is where I usually place it, because he's kind of the hero that once I have enough questers out that he can do some attacking. I could either put out a poison stakes or a Hennemarth. I think I'm gonna go with Hennemarth right now, just to get that all important scrying on the table and see what we're gonna get. Okay, so we don't have an enemy, so that's fine. This is gonna be the powerful undertow where you can't flip the active location. If the active location is underwater, it's not. If there's no underwater, so basically this is just gonna be a Doom 3, and we can't flip the active, which we're not gonna be doing anyway for a while. We're gonna focus on taking our time, and we're not gonna be flipping these to the underwater sides, and we're not gonna go swimming until we make sure we have a good synchronized swimming team, a bunch of questers to do that for us. Okay, so no enemies coming. We can go ahead and send the squad. Everyone, really. There's no reason not to. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. This is going to pop into play. This gets Doom 3. So I start off in 30 threat, so it's not the lowest threat possible. I would have liked to have a lower threat trap deck for several reasons, just to help the traps, because of course you have ranger spikes, but also helps to have lower threat to prevent enemies from engaging until you're ready. But in this case I do have faster to help with threat, so that's not too huge of an issue. Okay, so we're going against 10 to 5. That means we make 5 progress here. I'm really hoping to get 1 or 2 side quests early on, because this is the time to do it in quest stage 1. I will... This one is a nice friendly location, because as while it's active, it reduces the cost of the first ally by 1. This one is just the Cursed Caverns, just gives you some extra card draw in exchange for threat. I think I'll go to the Undersea Grotto to get that cost reduction, even though this is higher threat. This one has higher threat, but the Undersea Grotto has fewer quest points. Okay, so that's it for this round. I don't have any resources to give to our friends Nicaea and Zahir, so that's no choice to make there. Draw 2 cards. Ooh, that's a tough choice. So I have to choose between getting rid of a swordsman or getting rid of a scout ahead. Ew. Oh boy, that's the only problem with Círdan. Sometimes he gives you the real Sophie's choice or Círdan's choice. As much as I like Scout Ahead, I do really need the swordsman to power me through those underwaters. Oh boy. One of the reasons I'm thinking so hard about this is because there's a particular treachery in this deck that deals damage to all non-objective allies, and I have the squishy 1 hit point questing army going for the most part, and so Scout Ahead could be a way to get that out of there, but there's no guarantee it'll be there. I think I gotta ditch Scout Ahead. If it would have been some other spear ally, I would have ditched it, but the swordsman, I really want to boost those up. Barfin, I did give in to the pool of the power of Outlands. I'm sorry. So let's first take a look at what's coming, because speaking of that treachery, I don't want to play some questing allies if it's just going to wreck me. Okay, we got a Sea Scorpion coming. That's fine. just thinking about how. So this is going to be 5. I'm sending 8 right now. Yeah, let's put out the Handmaiden, reduce my threat by 1. Okay. And then let's go ahead and play the Poison Stakes for 1, which the little crab creature will fall into. Okay, 3. Is the threat I'm facing. We'll send 4, 6, 8. We shall boost up. Fastered, of course. And just doing some quick math here. What does this creature have? He is. Okay, yeah, let's just send the 8. Yeah, my dog is mentioning the weird Octagon bug where the down arrow stopped working. Yeah, I love you, Octagon, but you're making me pull my hair out recently with all the issues that have been cropping up. Chris Jackson is mentioning that the outlines are hit and pretty hard by a lot of encounter effects when at 1 hit point. Yes. And I don't have the Herdsman in the deck, unfortunately. That's probably an oversight. I should include them just to help with particular quests like that, or at least be in the sideboard. Is worth considering. Okay. So he's gonna fall into the trap. Sea Scorpion falls into some stakes. That means I get a card from Damrod. And that's a total of 3 progress, which is all we needed. This gets shuffled in. And a new one pops out. So now we have a choice where to travel. Doesn't really matter. I'll just go to the one that's has more threat. This guy is gonna come down. Fastrid will defend. Nope, nothing. At this point, I could choose to push him back to reduce my threat. But since I don't have any ranger spikes or options here, I think I'm going to take the safer option of attacking him back for 4. So I'm going to leave him engaged with me. That puts 2 damage on the Scorpion. Then we'll refresh. And that means at the end of the round, deal 2 damage. And the Scorpion goes bye-bye. So I played a lot with the configurations of what traps I picked. Because obviously you can't, I mean, you could include them all, but it takes up too much deck space. Started with Poison Stakes, took them out, put them back in. I like them because this deck doesn't have a ton of attack power, especially if you don't have these handy objective allies here. And so Poison Stakes helps to put some damage on. Boop. Okay. Another Kierden's Choice here. God. Ranger Spikes are so important. But Ranger Spikes enable interrogation. They also one of the tricks I like to do when an enemy is in Ranger Spikes and has a low attack is you can actually pull them down to have faster defend them and then bump them back. So you're actually getting threat reduction on demand. It's a cool little combo with Fastrid and trap decks. I think I'm gonna have to ditch the Ranger Spikes though, just because I can't get rid of all my side quests. It kind of messes with my strategy here. So, oh well. Hopefully I'll get some more. I hate to see a Ranger Spikes go. So let's put double back out. Let's see what we've got in terms of cave eel. Yeah, that the ranger spikes would have really helped there, unfortunately. The nice thing about this, the cave eel and the spikes, is it has 3 threats, so that's 3 cards with interrogation, which lets you look at 3 cards depending on the enemy's threat that's in a trap. Okay, so we have 2. We're gonna end up with 5 once the eel comes into play. Let's go ahead and get out the Rider of Rohan, because I'm gonna need some extra attack here. And that's about it. Okay, Rokafuchs is mentioning sometimes having Silver Harp is useful with Círdan. Yeah, especially for those tough choices. Sometimes Círdan giveth, sometimes he taketh away. Sometimes you go a game and it's just like easy choices, like he gives you a duplicate and a card you want, a duplicate and a card you want. But this game, he's really... I'm not sure whose side exactly Círdan is really on. I'm starting to doubt you, Círdan. So that's 10 I can commit. Which would be enough to clear it. So that's about all I care about for 6. Oh, sorry, that's only 8. Bad math. Yeah, how much? I think this guy takes 6 to kill. This guy's a great target for the poison stakes, by the way, because he only has 2 hit points. Yeah, well, nothing says that I have to clear this out since there's not a location coming out. So yeah, let's just be happy with that. Boop. So we're gonna make a total of, this is 8 actually. That's 3 progress. We're not going to put any on double back. That was my current quest, by the way, even though I didn't say that. It was in my head. Okay, Cave Eel cannot be engaged, but it's coming down by its... Well, does that mean that... I guess I never thought about that. It cannot be engaged unless the active location is underwater. So it actually doesn't come down, yeah, until, I was thinking optionally engage, but shouldn't it say it doesn't make engagement checks? And cannot be engaged? Unless the active location is underwater? Someone to help me out in chat here. I should know this, but it's been a long time since I played this quest. Yeah, so he stays in the staging area. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Well, if that was the case, then I would have just quested with these people. Since he's staying there anyway. So that's another 2, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the wording on this eel is kind of strange. Really would have helped to have that ranger spikes on him, huh? Boop. So this goes here. We're gonna get another grotto. We'll travel to this grotto. If you're wondering why, the reason is when I do eventually go underwater, I really want the undersea grottos. I'm metagaming a lot here actually, with knowledge of what the other sides are. The undersea grotto is the only one that doesn't have the reverse side. That's, I think it's called the Sunken Temple, which actually blanks all attachments. That includes traps. So that is a bad pool for this particular deck, especially later on when you've got like ranger spikes and forest snares going on. So I want to keep one of these around as my option to travel to when it comes to time to go beneath the waves. Next round. What is it with these side quest choices? Well, I'm gonna have to ditch Tides of Fate there. We can get gather info out, which will be helpful to grab whatever card I particularly need. So let's go ahead and peer into our future. Each player chooses a card type and discard. Yeah, so you basically choose a card type and discard all the rest that's not of that type. Why does this seem so familiar? There may or may not be a card exactly like this in Arkham Horror LCG. Well. Okay, so we're gonna be facing 5 in the staging area. I'm basically trying to decide whether I should play the swordsman now, which would be helpful, but I'm also, because I haven't seen any of my test of wills, I'm very, very, very scared of that treachery, which would wipe out. I mean, at this point, it'd only wipe out the handmaiden, but if I play the swordsman, then also wipe out the swordsman. But the other problem is if I keep him in hand and I want to keep him, then I have to name ally and I'll lose both 4 snares. I'm really losing all my traps this game. So much for a trap deck. Classic streaming situation here where the encounter deck decides to nerf the strategy that you're trying to show off. Boy. I guess I'll just play him then. Kind of risky, but I'm gonna have to play it a little bit risky here. Risky business. Okay, so we're gonna have 5. That treachery is gonna surge, so we don't know exactly what we have yet. We'll send 10. Let's send the rider as well. Okay, I'm gonna name attachment. That means nothing is discarded. That means this gains surge. That means it's gonna gain surge again. Ah! I knew it! I knew it! Ah! This is the exact treachery I was talking about. Yep, so this is gonna be 1 damage to each non-objective ally. With printed cost 2 or less. So that gets rid of my Hanemarth. That gets rid of my Handmaiden. And my swordsman. Yeesh. That's almost enough to warrant a scoop. But I'll play this out and see how it goes. But losing that many allies is not good. I probably should have just discarded my attachments instead of trying to get cute about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be explored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get some more grotto action out. Let's travel to the thing again. Next turn. Let's get rid of poison stakes. Let's put out ranger spikes. Don't know what's coming anymore. Yeah, if I had been thinking about trying to go underwater soon, all those thoughts are gone now after losing a big chunk of my allies. So it's gonna take me a while to build back up, I think. So we're up against 5. Let's have gather info as the quest. Not sure yet what I'll search for. If I do succeed, more than likely some kind of quester, I think, at this point. So 4, 6, 8 against 5. Let's send Damrod as well. That's 12. Same thing. That's gonna surge. Okay, so the KVO falls into it that time. Draw a card. He's going to contribute 1 threat. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on gather info. Shuffle in the grotto, you know the deal. Same thing, go back to the cursed caverns. He's stuck there, which is fine. Both the eels are stuck there. And next round. Oh, really? Kieran? Really? I hate Kieran now. Kieran is now my least favorite hero. Ranger spikes or quick beam? Okay, Kieran. This is my last ranger spikes too. Well, I think I gotta go quick beam on this. I mean, you can't really ever not choose quick beam even in a traps deck. It's close to sacrilege. Ready him. Oh boy. I don't want to put out my swordsman yet because there's still another copy of that stupid treachery in the deck. I believe there's 2. Okay, so we're up against 6. Finbarfin says I need to include more bad cards. Yeah. That's the problem, man. Too many good cards. Need more keen-eyed tooks in there. 4, 6, 8. 10. 12. What is this nonsense? Okay, cannot flip. This is going to gain Doom 3. So that's a total of 6. Yep. So I am killing the counter deck by a game of 1,000 cuts, or rather than counter deck is killing me with the death of 1,000 cuts. Travel there. These guys are still stuck there. Yeah, let's do it again. This might be a lengthy one, guys. Buckle in. Another Legacy Blade. I could start a Forest Snare store by now. I don't know. I don't think the Legacy Blade is the biggest incentive right now, considering I already have one and I got Quick Beam on the table. So let's keep the snares around since I'm losing all my other traps. So we're up against 6 again. Let's say 4, 6, 8, and 12. Wow. Throngs of the Unfaithful, huh? And a Drowned Cave. So only make 2, which is not great. I'm really having trouble drawing. I have a whole army of Spirit Questers in here, and they're not showing themselves yet. So that means they should all be coming up soon. Because I'm running into a bit of willpower problems right now, especially being gun shy about playing that one. So the Throngs of the Unfaithful are going to come down. The good news is I have a bucket load of Forest Snares, and the Unfaithful are the perfect victims for that one, because normally if you destroy the Throngs of the Unfaithful, then a lot of times they just go back to the top of the encounter deck, which is annoying. So we will defend with Fastrid. Gets +1 attack. That's fine. That's not an issue, and we're not underwater. Not going to bounce it back with Fastrid because I want to snare it, obviously. So next turn. I'll ditch Protector. I'm really not seeing my Spirit Questers or a good test of will. So let's dump Forest Snare on. the throng. Not sure exactly the mechanics of wrapping a zombie spirit creature in a forest snare, but I'll roll with it. That means I get to draw a card. Okay. Well, I'm definitely seeing my traps here. I'm just not seeing my questers. I think I have to play out the swordsman at this point. Otherwise, I'm going to run into willpower trouble. If I do draw that treachery again, it might be Scoopsville for us, to be honest. My test of wills are not in sight. Or my interrogations, which are also... I have interrogations in here, which are also super useful with a 3 threat. I could look at the next 3 cards, and if I see that treachery, just discard it. But, as usual, the streaming curse strikes again. 4, and at this point, I'm flush with resources, so I'm going to go ahead and give one to Nicaea, and I might as well give one to Sahir as well, even though he's a traitorous bastard. Spoiler alert, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 against 9. Send Sahir to be safe. That's 15, it looks like. Each player must remove a character from the quest. The active location is not underwater, so we're fine. I'll remove... doesn't really matter. I'll remove Damrod. So that's a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So gather info will go through, which is good. Grotto will pop out. Now we have to decide what to grab with our gather info. Part of me wants to say a questing ally, and part of me wants to say a test of will, just to make sure that I am covered here. A Hennemarth would be nice, but that doesn't necessarily cover me. Yeah, I mean, but by law of averages, I should be drawing some questers anyway. So I think I'm going to play defense here and grab a test of will. It may not be what other players would pick, but I'm a firm believer in best offense is a good defense. So, thinking strategically here. If I went to the drowned cave, it's an underwater location, which means that I would not be able to play allies or attachments next round. On the plus side, that would allow me to peel off this cave eel and kill it, potentially. Yeah. Some of the underwater effects are nasty, but I think that's actually worth it. Getting the equivalent of 3 and getting this 3 threat might be the equivalent of whatever ally I would have played anyway. It doesn't count as one of the underwater locations, unfortunately. Yeah, let's do it. I talked about good defense, good offense being a good defense, but I'm going to do the riskier play here. So now the cave eel shall come down because I am going for a little swim. Cannot play allies or attachments next round. I forget that this was going to return undead enemies to the staging area. I mean, it's only 1 threat. He'll come back down and he can't attack me anyway. Right? Yeah. So he'll go back to the staging area with his one little threat, but he still has forest snare, so he won't attack me when he comes back down. Okay, let's defend against this eel. +2. Ooh, yeah, that is gonna damage me because we're underwater. 2, 4. Let's bump her up to 6. That's enough to kill the cave eel. Let's go ahead and donate a resource to Nicaea because we haven't done that yet this round. And let's move to the next turn. Yep, double up on the same ally. Why not Círdan? Why not? Judas Círdan. So I do have that in my back pocket. I cannot play any... her this round though, or any of my attachments, because I am taking a little bit of a swim right now. 10, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 to be safe. We're going against the equivalent of 1, 3, 6, 7. I really want to make sure I clear this, because otherwise I gotta discard a heaping pile of my deck. Let's go ahead and give Sahir a resource, because why not? It's not like he'd betray me or anything. Just to be sure. Okay. Okay, drown dead. That's 9. That'll be a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.